John Cantin here, and I am going to be bringing you the Whip 101 monthly challenge, and we are going to work on self-held cutting. My preferred targeting are pretzel rods, great big pretzel rods. They, the nice thing about these is that, you know, if I leave some out there in the yard, the dog might eat it, the squirrels might eat it, the birds might eat it. It's no big deal. Random sticks in the yard will work as well. Let me go find one. Yay, random stick. Flowers, leaves, little branches, all sorts of possibilities for that. Invasive weeds, of course, are an option too. If you want something visible though, if you're a performer, you really want something that's going to really show off, something that's really going to pop. And that's why you quite often see them using flowers. All right, so I'm going to show you, this is apparently what Chris Camp uses for targets. And this is just a meat packing tray from some hamburgers that we had recently. I'm going to cut off this little curl on the end and the curl on the other end. And then I'm going to cut the remainder of this into strips. Tape it onto this little plastic rose. Now, another thing that you can do, I have a little piece of aluminum spacer, I think it is, and I've got that lashed onto the end of it, because what I've used in the past is like 4 strands of pasta, of noodles, and I'll just insert that in there, and as a way of having a stem on my rose. But what Chris Camp likes to do is he just tapes them on. Now, I don't have any green tape handy, but this is just some painter's tape, and you can buy green painter's tape, of course. And I'm gonna stick that on there and just wrap that around the end of my rose a little bit. So now I've got something that'll be very visible for somebody to hold on to, whether it's myself or an assistant. And when we do the cuts, it'll go through the styrofoam very easily. One of the things that makes this safer than you might imagine is the fact that the target that you're hitting is actually getting cut by the back end of the thong somewhere, way over here. It's not going particularly fast, so even if your fingers get in the way, it's probably not going to do you any damage, not going to hurt. Most cutting, as we've seen in earlier challenges done with the cracker, that's going to hurt if you hit something with that. But this piece, as it's flying around, doesn't move nearly as fast, not going to hurt you if you mess up. So I'm going to show you several different possibilities. And at the most basic level, you don't need anything more complex than just a cattleman's crack. The most obvious possibilities is to just hold it out in front of you while you're doing a cattleman's crack. With a cattleman's crack, I've got at least 3, 4, 5, I think 5 different places where I can do a self-held target easily. I'm gonna hold between a couple of fingers like smoking a cigarette. I can hold it behind my back. I can hold it behind my neck. All of those are using the exact same cattleman's crack. The key here is to understand the plane that the whip is working on. When I bring the whip up, I got my target here. When I bring my whip up and throw it forward, it's going to intercept that plane on its forward motion. Because of that, it's going to break whatever I put out there in the way of it. Here's another cattleman. Most of you have probably seen Adam Winrich taking the Cheeto or the bottle cap off the top of his head with the flaming fire whip. I think that might be why he's bald. I'm not going to do that one. You can also do it in your mouth overhead with the overhead crack. But you do need to be careful with what you're using with the pretzels in particular, because they will crumble and it'll get junk in your eye. So make sure you close your eyes when you do this one, if you weren't already closing your eyes on this one. Salty. Another thing that you can do to increase the complexity of this is to put it in the middle of a cracking combination. A real basic example might be doing the cow and calf, which is actually an underhand flick followed by a cattleman. If I hold the target in the way, I'm going to catch it on the way up. So I'm actually going to have to move the target into the plane after the underhand flick. Notice that I'm passing that under my arm in order to get that cut. Here's another example. Again, just focusing on the real basic crack of a cattleman's crack, and then placing the target in the way of the plane. And another combo. Another fancy possibility is to pass it off from one hand to the other, along with some sort of a whip toss. So I'm going to start with my target in my left hand, whip in the right hand. I'm going to do a toss, switch the pretzel to the other hand, catch the whip, and do my cattleman. Should we try for 3? I think I missed that one. Okay, on to some more interesting cracks that we can do. The sidearm flick that we've been seeing a lot for targets for hitting the pop cans and also for doing the green peppers can also be used for this, simply by holding it out in front of you, pointing down. If I want to do that sidearm flick and be able to continue on with maybe a body wrap and additional cracks, I can hold it lower and point it up. You can even try to work these into cutbacks. Victorian cutback, you're going to have to hold it way up over your head over here somewhere. I'm running low on pretzels. Tasmanian cutback, behind the back. This is going to come up behind my back. It's basically a cattleman's crack again, right? It's a cattleman's crack, but it went behind the back to do that. So I'm going to stick it out here behind my head. We can even use the infamous forbidden crack. Notice for the forbidden crack, I'm holding that out in front of me over here, because the crack is actually happening somewhere over here on that one. So the limits really are just kind of creativity. Honestly, I just came up with probably half of those cuts just now. They're not ones that I've practiced in the past, not ones that I've done in the past. I don't think some of them I've never even seen done. So it's just creativity on the spot. Hey, can I do this? Can I do that? Sure. Turns out you can. So, what exactly do you need to do to accomplish the challenge this month? You need to try at least 2 different self-held cuts. It could be the cattleman's crack twice, maybe once with the target held out in front of you, and once with it held behind your back. Being comfortable and aware of your skill level is important. If you're worried about hurting your fingers, go ahead and wear some gloves. Feeling safe within your skill level is far more important than making it look cool. And if you want bonus points, which honestly don't count for anything other than bragging rights, do a cut or crack that I didn't show, a fancy combination with 2 or more cuts, or show us something unique that you can use for targeting. So that's the challenge for the month. Good luck, enjoy, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.